Hi there. So I went to a very large garage sale and I managed to pick up some music. I got a single 8 track and then I got about 12 vinyl records and I wanted to show those off and just sort of check in. Haven't made a vlog in a good while. I've had ideas for vlogs, but I've just not had the time. I've been very busy working on my next book and taking some film classes online and just other personal stuff. But I'm hoping to come back to vlogging more regularly here soon, but we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to come and make one that was like fairly straightforward where I can talk about music because I do entirely love music. In fact, I am trying to learn the keyboard and I'm still trying to work on my guitar skills. I have a long way to go, but I am thoroughly enjoying getting into that. So the single 8 track I got was the very best of Vicky Carr. Love this artist. I was actually just listening to this while cleaning my vinyl records that I picked up, and I was surprised how good this 8 track sounded because I got these all for a bargain. It was 50 cents each, so my hopes weren't all that high, especially like with it as hot as it's been. That's both terrible for tapes and vinyl records. It can warp them. Even though it was mostly in the garage, I was still like, man, it's hot out here. I don't know how well these things are going to be held together. But when I put this in my 8-track player, it played beautifully. Some of my 8 tracks, it's like there's, you can definitely tell there's, it's almost like the singing is a little bit slower. Like it's not like unlistenable, but it's noticeably slower than if you were able to put it online, almost like I mean, you know that setting on YouTube where you can put it like 75% speed? It's almost kind of like that. But this sounded actually like Vicky Carr singing, in my opinion. It didn't sound bad at all. And I'm very excited to listen to the rest of it. I listened to about half of it before signing on, and there's a very good cover of Can't Take My Eyes Off You, which is a song by the Four Seasons, and for a minute I was like, maybe she actually came out with it first, and I couldn't find anything on the song other than that it was originally a Four Seasons song, but her cover of it came out almost the same year as the original song, so very, very close. But her version is just as good as the Four Seasons version, in my opinion, and that's after only listening to it once. There's Patchouli Clark, I Couldn't Live Without Your Love. I was surprised how good condition these records were in. Again, I was afraid of how badly damaged they would be because of the heat, and some of them did have some scuffs and some dirt marks. But what I do to clean my records is I take 2 microfiber cloths and I'll give it an initial like dry rub down on each side, and then I'll spray them down with a bottle that's got distilled water in it, and then I will dry it down with another cloth, and then I'll set them out to dry, and I'll do that for all of them. And sometimes I have to do that once or twice if they're in really bad condition. And here is I Believe by Anita Bryant. This cover's in pretty good condition. It was still in the original saran wrap. I mean, it was open, but it had the cellophane, or however you want to say it. And then what I love about records is that a lot of them have like background on the musicians or the album itself, something that CDs used to do, but a lot of modern CDs don't. It's usually just a list of the songs and sometimes the lyrics if you're lucky, but not a background on the musicians or even the music on the album. It's like you're lucky to get that sort of personal connection. But that's what I love about this old style of vinyl, is that you get, I don't know, you get more up close and personal with the artist. And I would say that with some of the modern vinyl, that is kind of missing, in my opinion. I bought a album by Evanescence, and it was a beautiful vinyl pressing, and it was very nice, but it didn't like have like a background on the artist or anything awesome like that. That's something I would love to see them bring back. And another thing I love about when I find these older records is finding like this techno bad battle is what I like to call it. So back in the day, it was all about having the best sound. There's fireworks. It's all about having the best sound. And a lot of these records would come with ads or just like a blurb talking about, well, with this special pressing, you get a quadraphonic sound. Or in this case, you get Columbia stereo. Or mono equipment. And I love that there's just this spiel about what the technology is, because that was a very big thing back in the day. And it's just funny. I don't know. I love little finds like this. This was in the Anita Bryant, but I have a lot of records older ones, that has stuff like this. And sometimes they're really in depth. Like they explain like how this at the time new surround sound system for your music was top of the line, and how to set it up correctly to get the most out of your record player. Excuse me. But I think that sort of thing is pretty cool. Here's another Patchouli Clark. This album, The World's Greatest International Hits. So this is a greatest hits album, and I'm going to have to go through these and put them through Discogs, which Discogs is what I do to catalog all my vinyls, because I'm at the point now where I have so many that I can't really keep track of what I have and what I don't have most of the time. Judy Collins, True Stories and Other Dreams. This one is what I like to call a book album, where it opens up. There's the front cover, and it's embroidered. I don't know if you can see that on camera. This one does not have this one is a picture album. It doesn't have like all the background on the album or anything, but still a really cool find. Anne Murray, Snowbird. This is still in the cellophane. I haven't decided if I'm going to remove it yet. A lot of what I've read is that if you find it still in the cellophane, it's important to get rid of it because it damages the sleeve. But this sleeve still seems to be in pretty good condition, and I like seeing. Normally I hate stickers on stuff, but when it's a music store that's probably not in business anymore, it's kind of like a piece of history, so I almost hate to remove it. But this one was extremely dusty when I got it. Like I wiped it down with a towel outside before I brought it in my apartment, and it's still a little bit dusty. But surprisingly, the album itself looked all right and turned out okay after I cleaned it off. Another Patchouli Clark. This album is I Know a Place. Here's the back. Anita Bryant. I thought in this picture, I almost did a double take when I saw this, because I thought it was Mary Tyler Moore. Like, she kind of looks like the Dick Van Dyke Show era Mary Tyler Moore. Am I crazy, or does anyone else see it? No, just me? And then here's another one that has a giant blurb on the back. And something I didn't notice when I bought this was that she's holding a Bible. Here's a band I wasn't familiar with before buying the music, The Ventures. It's the Hawaii Five-0 album. I did kind of look them up before buying, because I always try to buy new music when I can and try to get exposed to artists I'm not familiar with. I usually try to stay away from country, although I'm starting to warm up to some forms of country. I mean, you could argue that some of my favorite artists, like Carly Simon, some of her stuff is country-esque, and I've gotten into Martina McBride here recently, and some of Olivia Newton-John's music, it does have some country vibes to it. So I used to kind of just hate country music, but there's some of it that I like. I think as long as it's not too twangy or too, you know, farmer on their ranch, so to speak, then I can take it. Here's another Anita Bryant album, My Eyes Have Seen the Glory. There's the Statue of Liberty. I went there. I've been there, actually. Really cool place to go. And, oh gosh. Sorry, I didn't realize that I had seen that. I didn't realize what was on the back of this album. It looks like her visiting some troops, like she did some shows during the Vietnam War. There's some pictures of her. Again, information you probably wouldn't get from a modern day album about an artist. Here's another album by the Ventures. This album was quite eye-catching, and I wonder why. I don't know who this lady is. I don't know if she's a member of the band or is just on the cover to draw my attention. This is another book album, but I'm excited to eventually listen to these guys because I wasn't familiar with them, but I'm always open to get into new rock bands. Speaking of Frankie Valli, here's a really cool Four Seasons album. I mean, it's embroidered and everything. It's very shiny. It's in pretty good condition. And this is another book one. And this is one of those ones, I don't know how I feel about the albums where it slides in like that. I think I almost prefer it going into the side. I don't know. Like, I have a few albums where it goes on the inside and it feels kind of weird. I would imagine, so this is where the album goes, but it also opens up here, so I'm wondering if in its original release if it had like a poster or something, because there are a lot of golden albums that that came with posters. So I'm wondering if this was one of those, but I mean, unfortunately the poster's not in there. Oh, it's missing a record. Oh, that's really unfortunate. So there was only one record when I bought this, and I should have checked, but I mean, I still got it for 50 cents, but this only had one record in it. I wonder which one it is, because the Four Seasons Gold record, 29 gold hits, a 2-record set. So there's only one record in here. And it's got a list of all the songs on the back, and it even does, hey, I was right, includes a full color Four Seasons wall poster. So this would have had 2 records and a wall poster, but instead it only had 1 record and no wall poster. But still a good find for 50 cents. So not a complete loss. I mean, last but not least, another Anita Bryant album. How Great Thou Art. And this is another one that's got a nice little blurb on the back, along with some pictures of her other albums. There's a date here, May 8th, 1971. It's sort of like buying old records is sort of like buying books in a way, because sometimes you find notes. Like I've had records where the entire back was covered in signatures, and I assumed, my guess is that what people used to do is when they'd graduate, maybe they'd have all their classmates and friends sign the back of their records. If anybody used to do that, comment below, let me know if that's what they were doing, or maybe it was just people they constantly had over to jam and listen to music with. But yeah, I love having this sort of undisclosed history, because that means that this album has had a life. in somebody else's home, and now it's in my home. And inevitably, at some point, whether I end up selling parts of my collection, or God forbid something happens to me, and somebody else gets it in some other way, it'll have a life to continue on. So yeah, just real quick, that was my record haul. Now I get to go through the fun process of putting them through Discogs and organizing it in that way. But I love going to garage and yard sales and seeing like records. And this particular one I went to, there was probably a good 300. I had about 10 boxes to look through. And I might actually go back later this week, because originally when I went, I was like, oh shit, I've got to go home and get ready for work. So I kind of speed through the last couple of boxes. But overall, is a really good haul, and I would love to hear what is some of the favorite records that you found at a garage sale or a yard sale. Like, what's a sort of golden nugget, if you will, that you've found in somebody's garage. Thanks always for watching. Expect some more videos soon. Bye.